Yeah. Welcome to part 9 of my top 100 favorite games of all time. Here's the thing, though. We're on to the top 20 now. Almost every single remaining game is one I've put hundreds of hours into. These are games that aren't just good or even great. They're special. I mean, in different ways, sure, but special nonetheless. I can't wait for you to see these next ones. I'm of course not going over the rules again. Go check the first video for that. Links to it, as well as any of the other ones that you may have missed, will be provided in the description. As for the start of the top 20, well, how about one that's a massive pain in the ass because of music copyright? As a lover of rhythm games, and the fact I've had a few on this list already, I'm sure it's no surprise to see a Guitar Hero game finally make this list. And, well, if you don't know, there's a lot of Guitar Hero games. I mean, there's 6 main series, several spin-offs, and they're all pretty great. In fact, I attribute a lot of my love for rock and metal music to the Guitar Hero and Rock Band franchises. But for me, the one Guitar Hero that stands above the rest is Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock. It wasn't just a game. It was a cultural event. This thing took over everything. Living rooms, parties, dorms, it didn't matter. Everyone wanted to shred. And somehow this ridiculous, clicky, 5-button toy made us all feel like rock gods. Now, don't get me wrong, the earlier Guitar Hero games were great, and I absolutely went in order, getting each one as they came out. But I didn't actually get a guitar controller until after I already owned Guitar Hero 3. It was always a normal DualShock PS2 controller for me. And yeah, it's a weird way to play, but I still loved it. But then, after having Legends of Rock for a while, and then finally getting the guitar controller, that's when it all clicked. Do you have any idea how fucking impossible Knights of Sidonia on Expert is on an Xbox 360 controller? I had an irrational hatred for that song for the longest time because of it. But, speaking of Knights of Sidonia, my god, the soundtrack on this game, and not just the soundtrack, well, okay, yeah, the soundtrack, with so many incredible artists and songs, it is still one of the best collections of licensed music in any game ever. We are talking Barracuda, The Metal, Even Flow, 1, Knights of Sidonia, Through the Fire and Flames, Before I Forget, Welcome to the Jungle, School's Out, Raining Blood, Paint It Black, and oh my god, so many more. And I'm gonna derail slightly for a sec, but something super important to me about all this was a side effect of hearing all this kind of music for the first time. It broadened my musical tastes. What's so significant about that for me is that it became a way to connect with my grandfather in a way that I never had before. We didn't really have a lot of common ground with the things that we enjoyed, you know? I mean, he loved Westerns, and he still does. And I never really cared for him. But then Guitar Hero got me into music that I had no idea that he liked. Next thing I know, he's buying me a Deep Purple CD. And then come to find out he was a James Bond fan. You bet your ass, we watched so many of those. But here's another thing that's a big deal to me. Not all of them, but quite a few of these songs were master recordings. What that means is that they're the actual songs and not just cover band renditions. And that matters a lot. Like, almost every song in the first 2 games were covers. And they weren't, like, bad, but, like, come on. Master recordings are just so much better. It was a very real, very tangible increase in quality. And Through the Fire and Flames, oh man, that song was the final boss for an entire generation. Beating that song on Expert was basically your gamer diploma. If you could 5-star that, you were the king. And if you failed it in front of your friends, yeah, we all heard that one intro note highway zooming toward us like a goddamn panic attack. Now, what's funny is that Guitar Hero 3 was technically the first one made by Neversoft after Harmonix left to do Rock Band. And yet, they somehow nailed it. The presentation went full Saturday morning cartoon. Flaming logos, lightning bolts, Slash showing up for a boss battle. It's ridiculous. And it's awesome. It's not subtle. It's certainly not classy. It's fucking metal. If you've never played a Guitar Hero game before, let me break it down for you. The gameplay is simple, but it is pure perfection. 5 buttons and a strum bar. You learn by failing, and when you finally master a song that kicked your ass 10 times in a row, it feels incredible. And when you hit that star power section, tilt the guitar up and watch your multiplier go crazy, nah, you're not sitting anymore. You are standing in your living room pretending to be in Metallica. You can admit it, especially to me. Believe me, of all people, I get it. Easy only uses the first 3 buttons, medium adds the 4th, and hard adds the 5th. Expert just brings the difficulty up to match the song. You're playing every note, which for some songs, that's not too hard at all. But something really crucial to me about Guitar Hero 3 isn't just the music or the gameplay, it's the vibe. This was the peak of that, like, everyone can play energy that Nintendo capitalized on for the Wii. Yeah, it didn't matter if you were a hardcore gamer or someone's mom who'd never touched a controller. You could hand anyone that guitar, explain green is low, orange is high, and suddenly they are hooked. It is one of the most accessible, universal games ever made, and honestly, the difficulty curve was perfect. Well, mostly. Raining blood can go straight to hell, but for the most part, the game did an incredible job teaching you to improve. Everyone could play easy, medium felt cool, hard made you sweat, and expert made you scream. But every jump up felt like progress. You felt yourself getting better. There's a rhythm and a flow to it that's so satisfying when you finally nail a tricky section. And the boss battles. Yeah, there's boss battles. And they were fine. I mean, it was a cool idea, but not perfect execution. But come on, fighting Slash and Tom Morello in a literal guitar duel, that's the kind of energy that makes this game unforgettable. And that showdown with the devil, yeah, you're not beating that on your first try, or your second, or your fifth. But when you finally do, it is pure catharsis. And the multiplayer, split-screen battles, co-op career mode, oh my god, it's fantastic fun. What's kind of wild, though, is how Guitar Hero 3 made rhythm gaming feel cool. Before this, rhythm games were niche. After this, they were everywhere. Rock Band, DJ Hero, Band Hero, Rock Band's Beetle, Lego Rock Band, Dance Central. This game kicked off a full-on plastic instrument revolution. And yeah, it all eventually crashed under its own weight, but for a few glorious years, this was it. This was the moment, and even now, people still keep it alive. Clone Hero on PC, custom charts, the fan base refuses to let go, and honestly, I get it. Because nothing feels quite like hitting a perfect run on your favorite song. That crowd roaring, that solo lighting up the screen, and realizing your fingers just did something cooler than you thought possible. Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock is energy. It's nostalgia, and it is pure joy. It's the sound of a simpler time. It's the smell of pizza rolls and burnout TV speakers. It's one of those games that doesn't just remind you of the music, it reminds you of the moment, the people, the laughter, the competition. It's not subtle, it's not refined, but it is legendary. Choosing between the second and third games was tough, but I feel pretty confident in picking Crash Bandicoot 3. This is the one where Naughty Dog said, yeah, okay, we got the formula, now let's crank it to 11. It's colorful, it's polished, it's admittedly weird as hell, and it is the perfect capstone to one of the best trilogies of the PlayStation era. Crash 1 was fun-ish, but very rough around the edges. Like a prototype that just happened to sell millions. Crash 2 smoothed everything out, made the controls tighter, and gave us a little more personality. But Crash 3 warped, that's where the series hit its peak. Everything from the music, to the level variety, to the pure Saturday morning cartoon energy is firing on all cylinders. And the setup's simple, right? Crash and Coco are back, Cortex is somehow alive again, and now there's this new guy, Uka Uka, who's basically Aku Aku's evil twin and sounds like he gargles thunder for breakfast. And I just realized looking at the script as I'm reading this out loud that Aku Aku is Uka Uka backwards, and of course it is. I mean, this is the 90s. This is like Alucard all over again. Amazingly, Cortex and Uka Uka are both voiced by Clancy Brown, and I cannot stress how much I love that. As for the story, well, the story doesn't matter, okay? What matters is that it gives you an excuse to travel through time and blow up everything in sight. And man, what a lineup of levels. Ancient Egypt, medieval castles, underwater ruins, pirate coves, World War II dogfights. This game is a time travel fever dream. It's like they threw darts at a history textbook and said, yeah, let's make a motorcycle level out of that. It shouldn't work, but it somehow all does. Every stage feels distinct. And just when you start to get comfortable, the game drops something totally different in your lap. And let me tell you, Crash 3 has some of the most satisfying controls of any platformer from that era. Tight jumps, smooth spins, precise slides, it just feels right. You can tell Naughty Dog spent all of Crash 2 figuring out how to make the platforming perfect, and by this one, it's second nature. The new moves help too. I mean, a double jump, a super spin, speed shoes, they are all meaningful upgrades that make replaying older levels way more fun. And then there are the vehicle levels, the real love it or hate it part of the game. The jet ski ones? Yeah, great. Coco looks like she's having the time of her life. The motorcycle ones? Iconic, even if you hit every single police car on the road. The airplane ones? Weirdly satisfying with some terrible audio balancing. The tiger levels? Honestly, some of my favorites. I love just trying to dash nonstop through the level and seeing if I can still clear it. The underwater ones? Well, they can't all be winners, but variety is what makes Crash 3 special. It's not just throwing new stuff at you for the sake of it. Every new gimmick is a new rhythm, a new kind of challenge. The pacing's so good that even when you fail 10 times in a row, you still want to keep going. The boss fights are actually another highlight. The boss fights in Crash 2 were pretty, well, they were pretty bad, But Engine's giant robot space battle, Entropy's time warp showdown, and that final Cortex battle, they are so good and so memorable. Nothing overstays its welcome, which is more than I can say for a lot of modern platformers. And that music, God, the music. Every level's got that perfect PS1 bounce, you know, like part tribal drums, part cartoon orchestra, and all attitude. Now, visually, it has aged shockingly well. The colors pop, the animations are snappy, and the character designs are still iconic. Crash is a goofball, Cortex is a drama queen, and everyone else is somewhere between those two extremes. It's like Looney Tunes, but with higher stakes and more time travel. Now, I do have to mention the relic system, one of the smartest additions the series ever made. After beating a level, you can replay it in a time trial mode to earn relics, sapphire, gold, or platinum. Now, it sounds simple, but it's brilliant. It adds this extra layer of replayability that keeps you coming back long after the credits roll. And getting all the relics? That's the perfect mix of skill, frustration, and flex. And there's even a hidden gem for getting all the relics that, combined with all the other gems in the game, leads to a secret ending. I mean, they went nuts with the hidden content here. There's even a couple of hidden levels with very bizarre ways to find them. I mean, alternate routes, hidden exits. The game rewards you for being nosy. It's one of those rare 3D platformers that makes completionism actually fun instead of soul-crushing. Honestly, Crash 3 feels like the team's victory lap. You can sense how confident Naughty Dog was at this point. They'd mastered the PS1 hardware. They knew exactly what made Crash fun, and they just poured everything they had into making it as satisfying as possible. It's the perfect mix of challenge and charm, punishing enough to feel rewarding, but never unfair. And even after all these years, through the remakes, the spin-offs, and the questionable decisions involving mutant powers, Crash 3 Warped still stands as the gold standard. It's fast, it's funny, it's frustrating in that perfect 90s way, and it's one of the most replayable games ever made. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped isn't just a great platformer, it is the PS1 at its absolute peak. Well, almost peak. There's still at least one PS1 game left on this list, but anyway, there are a lot of games out there that test your skill, your patience, maybe even your sanity. But Rhythm Heaven Fever tests something deeper. It tests your soul's sense of timing. The game looks bright and cheerful, all smiles and pastel colors, but don't let that fool you. This thing will absolutely humiliate you. It's cute, yeah, but it's also judgmental as hell. Miss one beat and suddenly a cartoon wrestler is glaring at you like you just insulted his entire family. If you've never played it, Rhythm Heaven Fever is basically a collection of rhythm-based micro games that all run on one simple rule: feel the beat. That's it. There's no fancy controller, no motion gimmicks, it's literally just the A and B buttons on your Wiimote. Yes, I also can't believe it's a Wii game. The game teaches you a rhythm pattern, makes you feel like you've got it down, and then immediately throws a curveball just to see if you'll panic. And you will panic. But when it all clicks, when you're in the zone and the timing's perfect, there's nothing like it. Every single one of the micro games has that moment where your brain and the music sync up perfectly, and you're just gone. It's pure flow. It's musical nirvana wrapped in a smiling Nintendo fever dream. What makes it even more amazing is how weirdly creative every minigame is. You got a samurai slicing ghosts to a taiko drum solo. You've got a pair of forks and peas and a burger. You've got monkeys clapping with you in perfect synchronization. And if you mess up, they hang their heads in shame and it's all your fault. It's completely unhinged, but that's the charm. It's not about realism, it's about rhythm and personality. And then there are the remixes. Every few stages, you get one that mashes all the previous games together into one big, unpredictable music challenge. They're colorful, they're clever, and they will kick your ass in the nicest way possible. The crown jewel, of course, is Remix 10. It's fast, it's brutal, it's insane, and getting a perfect rating on it is one of the hardest things I've ever done in a rhythm game. And yes, that one made my top 10 proudest achievements video. Shameless plug, but I kind of earned it. The soundtrack is god tier. It's bouncy, catchy, and every track somehow gets stuck in your head forever without it getting annoying. The jazzy drum beats, the layered harmonies, the way every sound effect ties into the music. It's audio perfection. You'll be whistling these songs for weeks. Now, visually, it's simple, but it's brilliant. Every animation is clean and exaggerated in just the right way. When you're offbeat, you feel it. The characters wince, the music stumbles, the flow dies. But when you're on beat, it feels like the game's dancing with you. That's the magic. Rhythm Heaven Fever isn't about reacting, it's about trusting. You stop counting beats, stop thinking, and you just feel it. And the humor? My god, the humor. It is that perfect Nintendo-style mix of weird and wholesome. Even the minigame premises are so stupid that they become genius. Half the time you don't even know what you're doing, you're just vibing. And then the game decides to test your confidence by changing the visuals mid-song, and suddenly you're sweating like you're defusing a bomb. It's also one of those rare rhythm games that anyone can enjoy. You don't need experience, you don't need rhythm training, you just need a pulse and a sense of humor. It's simple, it's pure, and it's infinitely replayable. And when you finally nail a song perfectly, the game doesn't just congratulate you, it celebrates you. That little perfect notification might as well be an actual gold medal. But it really does come down to charm. Like I said, almost all the songs and levels are great. Almost. But this game is just so damn charming. Rhythm Heaven Fever is joy weaponized. It's music, it's timing, it's laughter, and it's mild panic all at once. It's a game that reminds you what makes rhythm games so magical in the first place. That moment where everything just sinks, and you can't help but smile. It's adorable, it's infuriating sometimes, and it's perfect. If you've never tried it, do it, okay? Sit down, turn the volume up, and let the chaos wash over you. Worst case scenario, you'll miss a few beats and get roasted by a cartoon monkey. Best case, you'll find yourself in a musical trance, chasing that same perfect high that made me love this series in the first place. Hey, there's a new one coming out soon! Oh my god! You know, every once in a while a game comes along that doesn't just define a console, it defines an entire genre. Super Mario 64 is that game. I mean, yeah, you could say that we talked about Doom before, and then that was because first-person shoot. Anyway, this is the one that taught everyone what 3D gaming could be. Pretty much every 3D platformer that came after would take some inspiration from this game. Hell, it wasn't just a platformer, it was a revelation. I was a little too young to really get how groundbreaking this was when it came out, but even as a kid, you could feel it. The freedom, the movement, the sheer joy of just existing in this world. You boot up the game, hear that "It's-a-me, Mario," and then suddenly you're standing in front of Peach's castle, no timer, no pressure, just a giant open space begging you to play. And before you even go inside, you're doing front flips, back flips, triple jumps, long jumps, side somersaults. Just existing feels fun in this game. That's the secret to Super Mario 64. The movement is the game. Mario doesn't just run, he flows. Every jump feels satisfying, every little movement has momentum, and that's why it's still one of the most fun games to control ever, except for the fucking camera! There are games today, decades later, still trying to figure out how to make movement feel this good. And then you step into that castle, and holy shit, the magic hits. Each painting you jump into is a new world with its own vibe. Bomb Battlefield, Cool Mountain, Big Boo's Haunt, Dire Docks, Tick-Tock Clock, Rainbow Ride, every single level is burned into my brain forever. You're not just platforming, you're exploring different micro-worlds, each one with its own theme, its own soundtrack, and its own weird little secrets, you know? What's so amazing is how weirdly open-ended it all is. You can tackle the stars in whatever order you want, and if there's a star you don't want to do, well, don't do it. You only need 70 out of 120 stars to beat the game, and honestly, that is genius design. It means if a star is giving you trouble, you're not punished for it. You just move on. That's smart accessibility long before that was even a buzzword. It's full of that kind of early design freedom that feels both intentional and unintentional, but also magical. Like the developers were still figuring out the rules of 3D games, and instead of limiting you, they said, fuck it, let them experiment. Of course, there's also the soundtrack, which is still insanely popular to this day. I mean, Bomb Battlefield, Dire Docks, Slider, I mean, hell, even just the main castle theme. Every single song in this game is iconic. You hear two notes, and your brain's immediately like, oh, I'm home. And the reverby, echoey sound of the N64 just gives everything this weird, dreamy tone that just kind of fits, you know? Now, let's be honest, though. This game is jank as hell sometimes. The camera is sentient evil. It will betray you every chance it gets. Sometimes you're platforming perfectly, and then suddenly, bam! Camera gets stuck, you fuck up your jump, and that's the end of that attempt. And yeah, a few of those late-game levels definitely cross the line between challenging and I'm about to throw this controller through the TV. But even with all that, the game never stops being fun, because that's what Mario 64 is. It's fun distilled into its purest form. It doesn't need cinematic storytelling or fancy cutscenes. It's just Mario, a castle, and some paintings that let you fly. And somehow that's all it needed to change everything. And look, we've had incredible Mario games since then. I mean, Sunshine, Galaxy, Odyssey. But this is the one that laid the foundation for all of them. The DNA of Mario 64 runs through every modern 3D platformer. It invented the language of movement in 3D space. It's not just influential, it's fundamental. Even now, going back to it feels magical. You can feel the history in every jump. It's simple, it's clunky, it's rough, but it's pure. Every sound effect, every coin sparkle, every Yahoo! It feels like coming home. And the craziest part? For all the nostalgia, it still holds up. The movement's still unmatched, the level design's still creative, and the vibe, that sense of adventure and freedom, hasn't faded one bit. Super Mario 64 isn't just one of the most important games ever made, it's one of the most joyful. It's that perfect reminder that sometimes the simple premise, just run around, jump, and explore, can feel like the most revolutionary thing in the world. And it's also an insanely popular speedrun game. I mean, I've made a few attempts at it myself, and I had a blast doing it. Learning all kinds of cool ways to manipulate wall jumps and long jumps and dives and it's so cool. It's a whole new way to experience such an incredible game. Speedrunning, randomizers, all of it. They breathe new life into these classics. They make a game you've played 1,000 times feel new again. And yes, Mario 64's randomizer is absolutely unhinged. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's fucking bullshit, and sometimes it's just, what do you mean I have to unlock the ability to jump? Excuse me? But you know what? I mentioned earlier that you can have an incredible game like this without the need for a deep story or dialogue. And as if to be the perfect antithesis of that, here's a game where it's all about the story and dialogue. And determination. Back when this game came out, I hadn't heard anything about it. And then a friend told me to check out the soundtrack. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a moment. But the music was so good, I felt like I had to try the game. And so, I played Undertale. It's weird, it's funny, it's heartbreaking, and somehow it is one of the most human games ever made, despite being full of skeletons, talking flowers, and a fish lady who thinks anime is real and also who tries to kill you with spears. When I first played Undertale, I didn't really know what to expect. It looked like this quirky little indie RPG with retro graphics made by one guy named Toby Fox. And I figured it'd be a cute nostalgia trip, maybe a few jokes, a few heartfelt moments, and well, that'd be it. What I didn't realize was that it would completely wreck me emotionally, rebuild me, and then roast me for good measure. The setup is simple. You fall into the underground, a world full of monsters, and you gotta find your way back home. Classic RPG setup, right? But within minutes, the game starts messing with you. Enemies don't have to be killed. Battles can be resolved through kindness, patience, or just weird social interactions. You can literally flirt with a skeleton, make friends with a robot, kinda, adopt a ghost who lives in a house full of melancholy vibes and lo-fi beats. It is absurd, it is brilliant, and that is the magic of Undertale. Everything you do matters. Every choice, every joke, every act of mercy or violence ripples through the story. The game doesn't just react to your actions, it remembers them. It judges you for them. Sometimes it forgives you, and sometimes it doesn't. The writing is what really carries it, though. It's funny as hell, but it's also incredibly heartfelt. Characters like Papyrus, Sans, Undyne, Toriel, Alphys, they're all so full of personality that by the time the credits roll, you feel like you actually know them. They're not just NPCs. They're friends. They're family. They're also sometimes nightmare fuel. Looking at you, Flowey, and speaking of Flowey, my god. The first time the game crashes, that's one of the most chilling moments I've ever experienced in an RPG. It's like the game looked directly into my soul and said, yeah, you thought you were clever? Think again. The combat system is genius too. It's this mix of traditional turn-based RPG and bullet hell. You're dodging attacks in real time while choosing how to respond, fight, act, spare, or use items. It keeps you engaged in a way most RPGs never do. You're not just spamming attacks. You're thinking, you're reacting, hell, even empathizing. And then there's the soundtrack. A soundtrack that might even be more popular than the game itself. Toby Fox didn't just compose bangers, he wrote a masterpiece. Megalovania, Hopes and Dreams, Asgore, Heartache, Waterfall, Spider Dance? Every single track is iconic. They're not just songs, they are emotional cues. You hear a few notes and you feel something. You remember the moment, the fight, the character, the pain. The music in Undertale doesn't just play, it haunts. Something Undertale does that's so cool to me is how it redefines what winning means in a video game. You can go full murder hobo and slaughter everyone for XP, and yeah, you'll win, technically, but the game hates you for it. The world changes. The characters remember. You're not the hero, you're the villain. But if you play with compassion, if you show mercy, if you try to understand instead of destroy, that's where the real ending lies. It's one of the most rewarding, beautiful payoffs in gaming. And the thing is, Undertale doesn't preach. It doesn't tell you you're wrong for fighting, it just lets you live with the consequences. It treats you like an adult, someone capable of empathy and reflection. That's rare in any medium, let alone a video game made by one guy in his bedroom. There's this one moment that always gets me though, near the end of the true pacifist route, when everything you've done finally comes together and the game stops being about beating it and it becomes about connection. about kindness, about hope. It's beautiful, and it sticks with you long after you've shut it off, or when it shuts itself off sometimes. And then there's the fandom. Oh boy, Undertale fans are, dedicated, like, too dedicated. Alright, y'all are fucking psychos, but like, I get it. They'll remix every song, draw every scene, analyze every line of dialogue, and honestly, I really truly do get it, because this game deserves that kind of love. It's not just a cult classic, it's a cultural landmark. Undertale proves you don't need big budgets or fancy graphics to make something truly unforgettable. You just need heart. It's hilarious, it's emotional, it's terrifying, it's inspiring. Sometimes all in the same 5 minutes. Even now, years later, no matter how many games I play, Undertale still sits in the back of my mind, like a memory that I actually lived. It's the kind of game that reminds you what storytelling and gaming can really do, when it's honest, personal, and unafraid to be weird. It's one of the few games that can make you laugh, cry, and have an existential crisis, all while a skeleton tells bad puns. And I wouldn't change a thing about it. Some of you might remember, but there was a golden age of PlayStation 2 mascot games where every studio seemed to be in a friendly competition to see who could make the coolest anthropomorphic animal protagonist imaginable. That took like 7 takes, I swear to God. That was such a tongue twister and such a long sentence. You had Ratchet and Clank doing the sci-fi shooty pew pew thing, Jak and Daxter going from colorful platformer to edgy and dystopian Grand Theft Auto, and then there was Sly Cooper, the smooth-talking, cane-wielding raccoon thief who somehow made sneaking around feel like the coolest shit in the world. And out of all his adventures, Sly 2 Band of Thieves is where everything came together perfectly. The first Sly Cooper was great. I mean, a super stylish platformer with fun levels and an awesome art style. But it was still pretty linear. Sly 2, though? That's where the series evolved. It's not just a platformer anymore. It's a full-on stealth heist adventure. Instead of simple levels, you've got open hubs, mission-based objectives, multiple playable characters, and a story that actually feels like a Saturday morning cartoon mixed with an Ocean's 11 movie. It's slick as hell. You're still playing as Sly, the gentleman thief with incalculable charm, but this time, Bentley and Murray actually get in on the action. You're switching between characters, each with their own playstyle. I mean, Sly's the acrobat, Bentley's the brains, and Murray's the brawn. It's such a small thing, but it adds so much variety, and it really sells the idea that this isn't just Sly's story. It's a crew, a family. Now, the mission structure was revolutionary for its time. I mean, you could scout an area, pickpocket guards, disable alarms, and then execute these big cinematic heists where everything comes together. It made you feel like a thief. Not just because you were stealing shit, but because you were planning, preparing, and pulling it off with style. Every mission in Hub World had that perfect rhythm of setup, stealth, and payoff. And let's talk about those Hub Worlds. Paris, India, Prague, Canada, the Contessa's creepy castle, they all had personality. Every single location had its own vibe, its own enemies, and its own soundtrack that made them truly unforgettable. You could spend hours just sneaking around the rooftops, listening to the music, and pickpocketing coins and loot off of random guards for that sweet, sweet upgrade money. The story also takes a surprisingly serious turn this time around. You're trying to recover the mechanical parts of Clockwork, the villain from the first game, before a new gang of criminals can use them for evil. But it's not just cartoon villainy. The writing actually digs into trust, betrayal, and the crew's friendship in a way that hit harder than I expected as a kid. There's genuine emotional weight here, especially toward the end. Like, this game goes for it. And the villains? Oh my god, absolutely top tier. Dimitri, the French lounge lizard, who makes the best sounds, I swear to god. The Contessa, who's basically a hypnotist spider lady that runs a prison. Jean Bisson, the old-timey prospector frozen in ice for 200 years, who just casually comes back like nothing happened. And also, I love his levels. Exploring Canada is a blast. Every single one of them feels distinct, and the voice acting brings them to life in a way that's still hilarious and memorable. Now, gameplay-wise, it's that perfect PS2 era blend of smooth and janky. The stealth is simple but satisfying, the combat's snappy, and the platforming feels fantastic once you get into the groove. There's just something so satisfying about sneaking across rooftops, hearing that jazzy stealth theme kick in, and timing a cane strike perfectly to knock out a guard without being seen. And the presentation? Still one of the coolest of its era. The cel-shaded art style was gorgeous back then, and it is still gorgeous now. The thick outlines, the bold colors, the comic book transitions, it's timeless. Every cutscene looks like it was ripped straight out of an animated series. Combine that with a smooth, jazzy soundtrack that oozes atmosphere, and you've got one of the most stylish games of the PlayStation 2 generation. I also love how Sly 2 gives you so many little tools and gadgets that make stealth feel creative instead of restrictive. You can throw alarm clocks, pop smoke bombs, plant traps, fly through the air with a paraglider, and pickpocket guards like some kind of furry solid snake. And while some missions can get repetitive, the overall pacing is so good that it never really overstays its welcome. But what really makes Sly 2 special is that it feels like a game made with pure confidence. It knows exactly what it is. A stylish, story-driven, character-focused stealth adventure, and it executes that vision perfectly. It's funny, it's charming, it's got heart, and it's one of those games that instantly takes me back to that PS2 era of creativity, where developers just swung for the fences every single time. This is the Sly Cooper game everyone remembers for a reason. It's everything that made the series great, refined to perfection. Fun characters, great writing, smooth gameplay, and seriously, I can't praise the story and characters enough. It really does just go all in on bonds of loyalty and family in a way that I rarely see. Having that kind of down-to-earth, serious tone stuff beautifully complements the game's insane style. And hey, speaking of games that absolutely ooze style, Persona 5 Royal doesn't just ooze style. It weaponizes it. Everything about this game is so slick, so confident, so effortlessly cool that it feels like something that is really cool. Okay, look, that one got away from me and I couldn't pick the right adjective to end that thought, so here we are anyway. The menus, the music, the transitions, the sound effects, it's like someone turned an anime opening into a full 100-hour RPG. Now, I'd played other Persona games before this, and I loved them. I mean, really, Persona 3 or Persona 4 could be on this list, but overall, I had to give it to Royal. This is one of those rare games where every single detail feels handcrafted to make you feel like the coolest person alive. You could be opening a menu and somehow it is the most dramatic thing you have ever seen. It's not just good presentation, it is a masterclass in vibes. You play as Joker, not that one, a high school student wrongfully accused of a crime and forced to start over in Tokyo. But at night, you're leading a group of misfits called the Phantom Thieves, sneaking into people's twisted subconscious worlds called palaces to literally steal their corrupt hearts and make them confess their crimes. It's basically Ocean's 11 meets Inception meets high school anime, which is somehow exactly what I've always wanted. And yeah, that premise does sound wild, but trust me, it works. The writing is surprisingly grounded, balancing larger-than-life heists with these small, quiet moments of connection. You're not just saving the world, you're helping people. I mean, friends, classmates, strangers, everyone's got something they're struggling with, and the game takes its time letting you see them as human beings. It's genuinely heartfelt in between all the flashy anime chaos. What makes it shine, though, is how perfectly it balances its two halves, the social sim and the dungeon crawler. By day, you're going to school, hanging out with friends, working part-time jobs, or studying for exams. By night, you're fighting demons inside the collective consciousness of Tokyo. And somehow, both sides feed into each other. You're building relationships that make you stronger in combat, and every bit of progress feels earned. And that combat system? Spectacular. Now, for the most part, it is just the latest version of the Persona series' usual combat, which honestly is a great thing. It's turn-based, but it's fast. It's stylish, but it's strategic. You're swapping personas mid-battle, hitting weaknesses, chaining all-out attacks that explode into literal comic book panels, and every single hit feels so satisfying. When you get that perfect weakness chain, it is impossible not to feel as satisfied as your party members do. And then there's the soundtrack. Honestly, it's basically perfect. Life Will Change, Last Surprise, Beneath the Mask, Rivers in the Desert, it's just wall-to-wall bangers. Every track is jazzy, punchy, confident, and completely unforgettable. You don't just hear the soundtrack, you live in it. There is a reason people listen to this OST while they're studying, or working out, and probably committing fictional crimes in their heads. Visually, it's absurd how good this game looks. Even years later, I still think it's one of the best looking RPGs ever made. Not because of realism or fidelity or whatever, but because of design. Every menu, every animation, every transition is deliberate. You can tell that the devs at Atlus said, yeah, we're gonna make navigating a pause menu look cooler than most AAA cutscenes. And then they actually pulled it off. The characters are a huge part of what makes it all work, too. Ryuji's loud, dumb, and loyal. and sweet but tough. Morgana's a talking cat who thinks he's people. Makoto's the responsible mom friend who could absolutely kill you. And then you've got the royal exclusive characters like Kasumi and Maruki, who add so much emotional depth and help make this version feel like the definitive one. And that's the thing. Royal isn't just a re-release, it is the version of Persona 5. It smooths out the pacing, adds new content, improves the dungeons, fixes some frustrating mechanics, and somehow makes an already incredible story even better. The new semester they added at the end, one of the most emotionally powerful arcs in any JRPG ever. It recontextualizes the entire game in a way that's genuinely brilliant. And yet what sticks with me most isn't just the story or the gameplay, it's the feeling. Persona 5 Royal makes you feel like rebellion is cool again. Like fighting back against injustice isn't just righteous, it's fun. Every strike, every success, every victory theme screams empowerment. It's not a power fantasy, it's a soul fantasy. It's also one of the few RPGs where I didn't want it to end. I mean, usually by hour 90, I'm begging for credits, but here, I wanted to live in that world just a little bit longer. That rhythm of school by day, heists by night, jazz in between, it's addictive. And yeah, it's long, it's unapologetically long, but it earns every single minute of it. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll yell at the screen because one specific boss suddenly decides to ruin everything, but you'll still love it. Because when Persona 5 Royal hits, God, it hits. It's bold, it's smart, it's emotional, and it looks cooler than basically any other game ever made. The Phantom Thieves might steal hearts, but this game steals yours. Oh my god, that was the lamest outro for a game I have ever written. Please make a note to make that better later. The last video saw me put Wind Waker as my second favorite, but my favorite Zelda game, it's gotta be Majora's Mask. Now, I know some of you are bitching and moaning, but here's the thing. Only picking 2 Zelda games was hard. Like, really hard. If not for my rule only allowing 2 Zelda games, I legit would have put Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and probably A Link Between Worlds all on this list. They are all fantastic games. Hell, almost every Zelda game is fantastic. But we're here to talk about Majora's Mask, so let's dive in. If Ocarina of Time is the legend, Majora's Mask is the nightmare that came after it. But, like, in a cool way, you know? This game is weird, dark, tragic, and unlike any other Zelda game before or since. It's the kind of sequel that shouldn't work. I mean, reused assets, smaller world, way weirder tone, and yet somehow it ends up being one of the most haunting, the most emotional, and the most unforgettable games Nintendo has ever made. You start the game as Link, fresh off of saving Hyrule, you know, at the end of Ocarina of Time, just wandering through the woods looking for your lost friend, Navi, and then BAM! Immediately robbed by a creepy mask-wearing skull kid, cursed into becoming a Deku scrub, and thrown into a world that's not quite right. I mean, the moon has a face. I mean, that's your first clue, right? People act familiar, but different. And the world is gonna end in like 3 days. Like, actually end. You can see the moon getting closer every time you look up. It's genuinely unsettling, especially as a young kid. And that's what makes Majora's Mask so special, the atmosphere. This isn't some grand adventure across a vast land. It's a small, looping world filled with fear, routine, and quiet despair. Clocktown feels alive because everyone in it is living on a timer, literally. Every NPC has their own schedule. You can follow them through all 3 days, watching their lives unfold, their hopes fade, and their fear grow. It's depressing, but it's also very deeply human. The 3-day cycle is what defines the game. You've got 72 in-game hours to do as much as you can before the moon crashes into the earth and wipes everything out. But you've also got the ability to rewind time, to relive those same days over and over, fixing what you can, helping who you can, and trying to piece together this fractured world bit by bit. It's equal parts puzzle, adventure, and existential dread. It's such a brilliant mechanic, too. I mean, the first time you play, it is stressful as hell. You're constantly watching the clock, worried that you're running out of time, but once you understand how the system works, it becomes this fascinating, almost comforting rhythm. You learn people's patterns, memorize events, plan your routes. It's like being trapped in a sad, apocalyptic Groundhog Day, but with better music and less god complexes. And yes, I know, the 3-day time limit and everything is a huge point of contention amongst Zelda fans. Most people either love it or hate it, and I get it to a degree. It is super annoying to have to completely reset just because you weren't in the right spot for a side quest trigger. But overall, I think it's fine and much more manageable than people seem to give it credit for. And oh man, the masks. There are 24 of them, each with its own ability or emotional story attached. Some are just fun little tools. I mean, the bunny hood makes you run faster, the Mask of Truth lets you read gossip stones, but then there are the transformation masks, Deku, Goron, and Zora. Each one is tied to a dead person whose spirit you are carrying. Like, goddamn, you literally wear their faces to use their power. It's morbid, but in a poetic, melancholy way that works so well. Every time you transform, you hear that muffled scream and see their soul fade away. It's dark, but it's beautiful. That's the core of Majora's Mask. It's not about saving the world, it's about saving people. Every side quest, every little errand, every random NPC has a story that matters. You reunite lovers before the apocalypse. You help a little girl face her zombified father. You calm a tormented spirit with a song. And most of it is all optional. You could blow right past it. But if you take the time, you realize it's not the main story that makes Majora's Mask so powerful. It's all the lives you touch along the way. And the music plays a huge part in that. Every area's theme is this twisted variation of something familiar. Familiar, but slightly off. Unsettling. Nostalgic. The Song of Healing especially might be one of the best pieces of music Nintendo has ever written. It's not just a song, it's the game's thesis. It's about finding peace in pain, about acceptance, about letting go. That's heavy stuff for a game that's technically about a kid with a potato flute saving the world from a moon with teeth. Visually, it has aged better than people give it credit for. I mean, yeah, it's still a Nintendo 64 game, but there's something about the atmosphere, the fog, the color palette. It just works, you know? Termina feels distinct from Hyrule, like it's caught somewhere between dream and nightmare. And those character designs? Still some of the creepiest in any Nintendo game. Now, gameplay-wise, it's classic Zelda, but with a constant sense of tension. You've got the dungeons, the puzzles, the exploration, but you're always aware of the ticking clock. Every victory feels temporary. Every failure feels personal. And when you finally play that Oath to Order and watch the giants stop the moon, it feels like relief more than triumph. You didn't just beat a game, you saved something fragile. I've played this game probably a dozen times, and it still hits me every single run. The melancholy tone, the sense of inevitability, the way the world feels alive even though it's dying, it's art disguised as a childhood fever dream. It's weird, it's unsettling, and it is absolutely brilliant. If Ocarina of Time is the heroic epic, Majora's Mask is the introspective aftermath. A story about grief, loss, and finding meaning when the end feels inevitable. It's one of the most daring sequels ever made, and one of the most emotional games Nintendo has ever released. It's not just my favorite Zelda, it's one of my favorite worlds in gaming. A tale about kindness, time, and the quiet hope that even if you can't save everyone, maybe saving someone is enough. And that's why Majora's Mask stands apart. It's haunting, it's strange, it's unforgettable, and it is proof that even the end of the world can still be beautiful. See? That was a much better outro than Persona 5's. Sometimes you get lucky, I guess. Anyway, do you like escape rooms? Me too! Do you like a gripping story with wild twists and turns that keeps you on your toes the entire game? Me too! Do you like neat, interesting, and varied characters that all have a place in the story? Me too! Do you like it when a game is so good that it creates a trilogy that stays with you forever? Yeah, of course you do! Check out number 12, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. Yeah, I know, it would have been funnier if it was number 9, but I just can't put it above the next 3 games. I'll tell you what I can do, though. Recommend to you one of the greatest puzzle games I have ever played. I'll tell you now that the less you know about this game going in, the better. So I'll only be showing things from the beginning and only loosely talking about stuff. Cool stuff, mind you, like big escape room-esque puzzles. They are super fun to figure out and make you feel super big brain quite frequently. The story hook is very quickly engaging and keeps you playing. Basically, you and several other people have been kidnapped and are being forced to play a game. Saw joke. And you have 9 hours to find the exit and escape. But it is so much more than it sounds. The way the puzzles are handled is excellent. The way the characters are written and acted is great. Well, acted if you have the newer releases. I don't believe the original Nintendo DS version had voice acting. But anyway, as I mentioned, this is part of a trilogy. And seriously, if you like this first game, you need to play the others. The second one especially. I almost put that one on here instead of this one, but what can I say? I'm a sucker for first impressions. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything about this game, so all I can say at this point is please go try it out if you can. It is incredible. And then let me know in the comments what you thought of the game. But now I think it's time to move on to one of the most emotional games for me. A lot of you probably already know what it is, but I cannot stress to you enough how important this game is to me from an emotional standpoint. Shortly after I lost my father as a child, I was given a PS2, and the game that was bought with it was the fantastic, perfect, no flaws game called Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. Yeah, anyway, I wanted a game that wasn't dog shit, and so my grandma bought me one she thought I might like. And that game was Final Fantasy X. This game helped me deal with the loss of my father in a lot of ways, and that is really important to me. But this isn't just I like this game because I was a sad boy. This is one of the greatest games ever made. I don't feel like I really need to sing the praises of Final Fantasy VIII after all these years, but I will anyway. It's got incredible music, incredible gameplay, incredible characters, incredible writing, incredible story, incredible acting. Yes, incredible acting all the way through, even the... The man himself even said...
It was supposed to sound like that. Get over yourselves.
For those of you that haven't played it, it's a JRPG that is similar yet different from the previous Final Fantasy games. Turn-based combat with a slight twist with how turn order works. A way to customize your characters as you level up. Yeah, it's a JRPG. What makes Final Fantasy X so damn good, beyond nostalgia, beyond emotion, is how complete it feels. Some games have great combat, but a messy story. Some have strong characters, but clunky pacing. Some have amazing music, but forgettable worlds. Final Fantasy X is one of the rarest games, because it nails everything at once, and wraps it in a world that still feels unique in all of Final Fantasy. Spira isn't just a setting, it feels like a real culture. The temples, the rituals, the beliefs, the praise be to Yevon, the way people talk about sin like it's both a natural disaster and a religious curse, it all sticks with you. It feels lived in. And I love how Tidus being an outsider actually makes the world more interesting. He learns things at the same time you do. He questions the same things that you question. He's confused when you're confused. He grows when you grow. That's good fucking writing. But what stuck with me through all these years, these decades, is the story. It is, in my humble opinion, one of the greatest love stories ever told, with some of the best characters ever written. Each one has so much room to grow and express themselves perfectly. Tidus, Yuna, Wakka, Riku, Lulu, Auron, hell, even Kimahri are all incredible, and all get their moments to grow and shine. I already mentioned how Tidus grows as you do, but he definitely is his own character, not just a self-insert. But really, the main protagonist is Yuna. God, Yuna. She is one of the best Final Fantasy protags ever. She isn't the typical chosen one who doesn't want the job. She chooses her duty. She is kind but firm, gentle but powerful, and watching her journey shift from quiet acceptance of her fate to bold defiance of an entire belief system is one of the best character arcs ever put into a video game. And then there's Auron, the coolest man on the planet. If he told me to walk into hell, I would at least consider it. Every line that man delivers feels like it was carved from stone. And the reveal about him later in the story, perfect, subtle, earned. And it still hits even when you know it's coming. Even Wakka, the goofy, slightly problematic, and very racist beach dad, ends up having a genuinely heartwarming arc about unlearning prejudice. Riku brings levity, Lulu brings gravitas, and god damn! Kimahri brings, well, he brings being a big blue cat man who grunts a lot, and honestly that's enough. The way the world building is done is so excellent, and the way the game weaves its excellent puzzles into theming and pacing is excellent. And all of the puzzles are pretty fun too. All of them. Totally all of them. There's certainly not a puzzle area that sucks so bad. God, why do they put this here? It's so fucking terrible. One of the biggest criticisms I hear about this game is that it's too linear. Please, explain to me why that's a bad thing. It allows for a better paced and better structured story. And don't even act like there aren't side things to do. There's plenty of side stuff. Come on. Ultimate weapons, loads of minigames, fucking blitzball. There's an entire sport that is weaved into the story and world that you can go hardcore on and spend far too much time getting good at and building a team for. Like, the sport is so popular that this small child wants to be a blitzball when he grows up. I'm serious. And when I say this game is emotional, even that is expertly paced. And the moments of the game that punch you in the feels, God, they hit so hard and so good. And did I mention how good the music is? Like, you can go from this to this, and then to one of the greatest boss battle themes of all time. And I can't not mention the Sphere Grid, one of the best progression systems in any JRPG. The fact that you can technically push characters into different roles and create all kinds of weird team builds is so unnecessary, but so cool too, even if half of us just followed the default paths because the board looks like someone spilled spaghetti all over the place. Also, the summons, the Aeons in this game are just amazing. You don't just call them in for one attack. You control them. You form real attachments to them. Yuna's bond with Valifor, Ifrit, Shiva, all the way to Anima and the Magus Sisters. It adds so much personality to what's normally just a menu option in other games. And honestly, the more I revisit Final Fantasy X, the more I appreciate just how tight of an experience it is. No bloat, no wasted scenes, nothing that feels like filler. Every story beat matters, every location matters, every melody matters. And yes, every character matters. Even the laughing scene. Especially the laughing scene. Final Fantasy X wasn't just there for me at a time in my life when I needed comfort. It became one of the foundational video game experiences of my life. It's a game that hits you with spectacle and emotion and music and story. Everything, all at once. It's the full package, wrapped in the warmth of early 2000s Squaresoft, Square Enix magic. Seriously though, this game is incredible, and I could not have picked a better game to transition us into the top 10. Which, starts in the next video, and I'm sure you're all as excited as I am to make it to the top 10. Before we get there though, I gotta be real for a sec. This has truly been one of the most enjoyable yet challenging things I have ever made. This entire series. It took a long time, like a really, really long time, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you have too. The next video is the last one, of course, which feels both satisfying and kind of bittersweet. This is it. The moment you've all been waiting for. Well, next time anyway. But for now, thank you again so very much for watching. And, of course, a big ol' shout out to my Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube supporters. You might be tired of me saying it literally for the 9th time now, but it is true. I literally couldn't have created this passion project without each and every person on the screen. So I hope it was worth it. And again, thank you all for watching each of these videos, and I hope you're ready for the next video, the last video, as I unveil my top 10 favorite video games of all time. Epic outro!